You're not stating facts, you're stating opinion.
Mr. Secretary, Black and brown Americans feel like they are under attack by this administration. President Trump has ordered state legislators across the country to redraw maps to dilute Black political representation. Moreover, Trump has weaponized the DOJ to go after groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center because of the work that they've done to expose white supremacy groups that are often supporters of President Trump.
So Scott Bessent just got held to his own numbers by a securities lawyer from Selma, Alabama, and had absolutely nothing to say. Terri Sewell walked into a House Ways and Means hearing with the administration's own growth forecast printed out. 5.4% GDP growth. That was Bessent's number. That was what he was selling to Congress and to the American people after the One Big Beautiful Bill passed. The actual number that came in for that quarter was half of 1%. Not 5, not 3, not even 1. Half of 1%. Bessent sat there and tried to explain the gap by citing core inflation being down 0.5%. And Sewell looked at him and said she is going to go home and tell her constituents in Alabama they should be doing cartwheels in the street. Because core inflation is down and gas is over $4 and groceries are more expensive than ever, and the war has cost every household in this country real money. I will give you my full take at the end.
Mr. Secretary, you promised the American people that the big, beautiful bill would lead to big economic boom for the American people. In a statement you made on July 3rd, 2025, after the passage of the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, you said that the legislation would unleash growth in the American economy. Republicans pledged that it would stimulate economic growth and lead to an additional $2.4 trillion in government revenue. However, the most recent GDP data shows that the economy barely grew in the last quarter of 2025 at a rate of only 0.5% and continues to fall below expectations in the first quarter of 2026. Time and time again, you told the American people not to believe their own eyes or what's in their bank accounts, while families have been hit with higher costs from Trump's illegal tariffs and his costly war on a war of choice in Iran. This administration continues to insist that the economy is thriving. The reality, sir, especially for the folks that I represent in Alabama, is that you forecast a 5.4% growth in GDP for the fourth quarter 2025 and only delivered a 0.5% growth. The reality is that wages have fallen behind rising inflation and that job growth dramatically slowed down since Trump took office. Mr. Secretary, I'm asking you rhetorically the following questions. I ask you, why was your analysis so wrong? And I'm asking you rhetorically, since you've shown yourself not to be able to answer questions on this side. So let me try to answer it. Could it be that Trump's illegal tariff or the cost of the war of choice in Iran were the reasons why your analysis was off? Whatever the reason, I want you to know that the people that I represent in Alabama are hurting under this economy. Prices in Alabama have fallen by 3.6% over last year. Energy prices are up 18%, and exports of Alabama products and services have dropped by $3 billion since President Trump took office. In addition, the Iran war has cost American households over $100 billion. Grocery prices are rising faster than any time in the last 4 years, and gas is over $4 a gallon in Alabama, where last year it was only $3 a gallon. Mr. Secretary, your economy, this economy under this administration is failing the American people, and we can and must do better. My second question, or my second topic I'd like to discuss is what's going on. Sir, I haven't asked you one single question.
I will point out
Mr. Chairman, I asked to reclaim my time. I'm not asking him a question. I'm stating facts.
You're not stating facts, you're stating opinion.
Mr. Secretary, Black and brown Americans feel like they are under attack by this administration. President Trump has ordered state legislators across the country to redraw maps to dilute Black political representation. Moreover, Trump has weaponized the DOJ to go after groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center because of the work that they've done to expose white supremacy groups that are often supporters of President Trump. I am asking you, sir, that if the IRS plays a role in these cases, I ask that you ensure that the IRS is not improperly influenced by the president or this administration during the duration of that case, and I trust that you will make sure that that does happen. Lastly, Representative Davis and I sent several letters to the IRS, and I think that Representative Davis, during his questioning of you, asked you about it. This most recent tax season was the first time that the president signed an executive order in September of last year that ceased paper refund checks from being issued. This decision to upend paper checks has led to a significant delay in refunds for those taxpayers. And I understand in your response to Mr. Davis, you said that 95% of those that receive their refunds get them electronically. Well, I represent the 5% that do not have access to electronic repayment. Those folks need paper checks and they need their refunds now. I trust that this administration will do all that it can to make sure that all Americans, irrespective of whether they're unbanked or have access to electronic payment, that they get their refunds. And Mr. Davis asked a question that you didn't answer, but I'd like to answer it for you. We're asking that you and your office, that the Treasury Department, work with us to make sure that our constituents get their refund checks.
I will commit to do that.
Thank you, sir. I yield back the balance of my time.
That was the first I've seen. And to be clear, that number 5.4% was the Atlanta Fed GDP need now, but I know that's inconvenient. So,
thank you, and thank you, Secretary, for joining us here today. It's always kind of unusual when you start a hearing and are instructed what you can say or can't say in an open and free democracy. But having said that, you mentioned in your testimony core inflation a couple of times. What's the difference between core inflation and inflation?
Many people believe, or it is in general, energy prices and food prices, which are much more fast-moving. And I would say that energy prices will roll down when this Iran conflict ends.
So is gasoline considered part of core inflation?
Yes, sir.
It is. So those remarks, core inflation reflects gasoline prices.
Core inflation, it reflects the underlying trend in inflation and whether that inflation has become endemic to the system as it did during President Biden's
Has the war in Iran had anything to do with core inflation?
Sir?
Does the war in Iran have anything to do with core inflation? Or you can't answer that, or either, or are we precluded from asking that?
Well, I'm not sure what the question is.
Let me make it as simple as I can. Does the war in Iran, are you with me? Does the war in Iran
thus far,
have witnessed the rise in gas prices as it caused?
Well, again, that is the regular inflation, and gas prices have gone up, which I believe will be temporary.
Gas prices have gone up, but you believe they're temporary.
Core inflation has dropped 0.5% since President Trump came to office.
Geez, you know, when I'm home in my district, I'm going to just tell those people, geez, you know what? You missed this whole thing. Don't you understand core inflation? You guys are better off. I mean, these gas prices, I don't know what you people are thinking out there. For God's sake, you know, you should be doing cartwheels in the street over the price of gas. So what is the administration's plan to lower gas prices?
We've taken the many.
Are you in favor of eliminating the gas tax?
We have moved to.
Are you in favor of eliminating the gas tax?
We would like to work.
Are you able to answer that, or is that not answered?
Well, if I'm not interrupted, I can, Congressman.
Well, I'm waiting for your answer.
We have asked Congress to move to eliminate the gas tax. That is done through statute.
You have moved that. So you're in favor of eliminating the gas tax.
We have asked for that.
So we can join bipartisanly today because you're in favor to eliminate the gas tax.
Again, the White House has asked for it, sir.
They have? Why isn't it before the committee for a vote?
I don't run the agenda.
Well, it's good to hear that we're in favor of something that we can work on bipartisanly that will help relieve people who need it the most. Forgive me, but people in my district aren't doing cartwheels over this economy. They haven't seen the impact that you claim that they're all receiving. People hear a lot of rhetoric, et cetera, but that doesn't pay their grocery bills. That doesn't pay their heating costs. That doesn't put fuel in their tanks. That doesn't help them get through the day-to-day grind of their lives. And so coming here and filling us with platitude and telling us how grateful we should be to the Trump administration for everything that it's done,
Well, Congressman,
is this war responsible for any of this?
Congressman, food at home is up 2.5% since President Trump took office.
Are we at war currently?
Which is twice.
Are we
It's
at
up
war
twice that much
currently?
every year under the Biden administration.
Are we at war currently?
That the conflict has been halted.
The conflict has been halted. So we're not at war. So our military is not involved. We're not at war.
Again, if you would like for me to call the Secretary of War, I can ask. I'm the Secretary
So
of
as part of the
Treasury.
administration and as part of this, we're not at war. How in God's name, if we can't answer any questions at all, and I don't know, maybe there were some special orders where we're not allowed to these questions or not, we ought to make that clear. Are we at war or not? I'm asking as relation to the cost of going up for oil and gas. That hasn't risen. Has it risen because of the war?
It did rise because of the conflict, yes, sir.
The conflict. So that's what we call it. Our people go into battle.
So if you just watched that and felt like you were watching someone refuse to own a forecast they made publicly with their name attached to it, that is exactly what happened. Let me break down what Sewell exposed and why it matters beyond one bad quarter. Start with where the 5.4% number came from. Bessent was citing the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now tracker, a real-time forecasting model that swings widely and is explicitly not designed to be used as an official economic forecast. The Atlanta Fed itself warns that the tracker is meant for internal modeling purposes and can diverge significantly from actual results. Bessent used it as a headline number to sell the One Big Beautiful Bill's economic impact. The actual GDP growth for that quarter came in at 0.5%. The gap between the forecast he promoted and the reality that landed is not a rounding error. It is the difference between one of the strongest economic quarters in decades and an economy that is essentially stagnant. And then Sewell makes it personal in the way that lands hardest. She represents Alabama's 7th congressional district, Selma, the rural Black Belt. Communities that do not experience economic statistics as abstractions. They experience them as gas prices and grocery bills and whether the hospital is still open. Energy prices in her district are up 18%. Alabama exports have dropped by $3 billion since Trump took office. The Iran war has cost American households over $100 billion combined in higher fuel and goods costs. Gas that was $3 a gallon in her district last year is now over $4. And Bessent's answer to all of that is that core inflation is down 0.5%. The core inflation dodge is the tell. Core inflation strips out food and energy costs because they are considered too volatile. Which means when Bessent cites core inflation as proof the economy is improving, he is specifically using a number that excludes the two things that most directly affect what people actually feel every week. Gas prices, grocery prices, the things that decide whether a family in Selma makes it to the end of the month. An administration that promised to bring prices down is citing a measurement that by design does not include the prices people are most angry about. That is not incompetence. That is a deliberate choice of metric designed to tell a story the underlying reality does not support. And then there is the paper check executive order that Sewell raises, which barely gets coverage, but hits real people directly. Trump signed an executive order eliminating paper tax refund checks. The administration says 95% of taxpayers receive refunds electronically, so this is an efficiency measure. Sewell represents the other 5%, unbanked households, rural communities without reliable banking access, people who depend on a physical check arriving in the mail to receive money the federal government owes them. For those families, the elimination of paper checks is not a paperwork reduction. It is a months-long delay on money they need right now. And Sewell extracts the one concrete commitment Bessent makes in the entire hearing. He agrees Treasury will work with her to ensure those constituents receive their refund checks. Here is my take. Sewell did something in that hearing that congressional oversight is supposed to do but rarely does cleanly. She took a number Bessent put on the record publicly, compared it to what actually happened, and asked him to explain the gap in terms that real people in her district can feel. 5.4%, half of 1%, $4 gas, 18% higher energy costs, $3 billion in lost exports. The arithmetic of what was promised versus what was delivered is not complicated. Bessent's answer was a measurement that deliberately excludes the things people are angriest about, and Sewell called it exactly what it was. She said she was going to go home and tell her constituents to do cartwheels over core inflation while they figure out how to pay $4 a gallon for gas. That is not a rhetorical flourish. That is what it actually looks like when Washington metrics meet real life in Selma. I really appreciate you watching. Make sure to check out this one. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe. Drop a comment and tell me what you think.